Welcome back to another car vlog, guys, and today we are going to be talking about we're going to be giving a little bit of an update on the TS, and we're going to be talking about kind of where it started and where it is now, kind of the overall process that it's gone through and what that's sort of been like for me and what my plans for it are in the future. Now, let's start off with why we're in the BRZ at the moment right now. So right now we're on our way to get some maintenance done. We're doing a couple different things. We're getting an oil change, and we're also getting a transmission oil change. Oh my god, dude, you don't yield there. They have to. Oh my god, people have no idea how that... Okay, so where are we going right now? We are on our way to get a couple of different service items done on the car. One, we're gonna do an oil change. I mean, it's just like routine oil change at this point. I've put a lot of miles on the car ever since I bought it back in the spring. So put it this way, back in the spring, it had, and forgive me if my numbers might be give or take a little bit off here, but back in the spring when I first bought it, it had just a little over 20,000 miles on it. Now, it's just a tick under 40,000 miles, and so we've done quite a few oil changes in that span of time, and we're gonna go and get another one done today. But we're also, oh god, okay, you know when you're like, you see a really big pothole coming and you're like, and then it's actually not as bad as you think it's gonna be. That's what that was. Anyways, other than the oil change, we're also getting a transmission flush done, or transmission gear oil change. And normally in a BRZ, you're supposed to do that at about 30,000 miles. A lot of people, you would be surprised how many people have no idea that the suggested interval for gear oil in a BRZ's transmission is 30,000 miles. I'm a little bit behind on that because I'm just, like I said before, I'm just a tick under 40,000 miles. But the thing is, a lot of those miles have been on the highway, so I'm not all that concerned about it. And yes, there have been track miles on that same gear oil. I don't deny that one bit. But again, I also use this car for a lot of, like, you know, a lot of highway driving, so I feel like there's a little bit of allowance, at least you can make a little bit of allowance in there for a lot of those miles being spent in 6th gear. But regardless, the gear oil change, it's just kind of a preventative thing. Some people wait until their shifts start to get really chunky and clunky to do the gear oil. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in that spot when I actually go to finally change it. I want to change it early. I want to change it preventatively. And then the interval for the diff, I believe, is 60,000 miles. I believe. I could be wrong on that, but I believe that the gear oil interval on the diff in these cars, anyway, the suggested gear oil interval is 60,000 miles. So we'll address that a little bit later on down the line. But with that being said, now of course, that's not to say that you shouldn't address it sooner if you're using the car for a lot of track work, and I probably will address it sooner anyway, because I do use this car for track driving and road driving, so I will probably go in and address that a little earlier. But either way, as far as overall impressions on how it's been, I mean, like I said, I've put 18,000 miles on this car, like, already, something like that, somewhere between 15 and 18,000 miles. And it's been awesome. It's been great. There's nothing that I don't like about these cars, with a little bit of an asterisk on that being the torque dip. I don't think that these cars, so everybody says, oh, they don't have any power, they get outran in a straight line by a Camry. Of course they do. So does a Miata, so does like an MR2, so do all of these other quote-unquote, air quotes, momentum cars. But what's interesting about, wow, okay, that was an interesting exchange. Don't you love when you watch people that don't know how to merge, like they have absolutely no idea what they're doing? But, like, as long as they don't actually hit each other, like, you hope that they don't actually hit each other, but God, like, when you see people, I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but when you see people merging with each other that have no idea what they're doing, no idea how to merge, and you'll see one of them, like, you'll see them be like 10 feet away from somebody and then look over and see a car merging, and instead of just going, oh, I'll just let them in and ease my way over, they like yeet to the side and act all dramatic about it, and I'm like, you know, that wasn't exactly like necessary, right? But anyways, tangent over. I do that all too often. Like when I'm recording in a car, like I'll go off topic so much. But anyways, back to what I like and don't like about this car, especially after spending all this time in it. The torque dip is a little frustrating, or at least it can be. I find it to be actually more frustrating on the street than I do on the track, when you're trying to just like, you know, merge on the highway and stuff like that. When you're on the track, I mean, you're between 5,000 and 7,000 RPM most of the time. Now granted, there are some tracks and some turns where depending on how much momentum you're carrying, you will be a little bit lower in the RPMs initially, but if you know how to carry the momentum, sorry about that, if you know how to carry the momentum on the track, that won't be too much of an issue for you. And then by the time you've, you know, thrown the car into the corner and ridden out the momentum, your RPMs will be back up to where they needed to be in the first place, because in most corners on most high-speed tracks, you're going to be flat out most of the time in a car like this. But I would say that the torque dip definitely impacts street driving in a very noticeable way. I mean, especially like I said before, if you're in a lower gear and you just want to like merge in with traffic and the car is like, we're going, oh, we're going again. So it's got that weird little hiccup, and I've been highly considering doing a tune just to tune that out. And it wouldn't be anything, wow, it's bright out today. It wouldn't be anything crazy. It would just be like a naturally aspirated 93 octane tune. It wouldn't be E85 or anything crazy like that. Not that E85 is crazy, it's just that where I live does not have easy access to E85. E85 is not something that is a popular, sort of a popular fuel choice in this area, so that's why I don't really see much point in doing a flex fuel setup. Now, if my area had lots of E85 everywhere and it was plentiful, I would probably consider it. I would probably consider doing like a naturally aspirated E85 tune, or maybe like flex fuel where you had automatically switching maps for E85 or 93. Now, going back to the previous point, I do feel like it might be worthwhile, especially for just like street driving enjoyment, to get a 93 tune and get the torque dip kind of tuned out. And I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't really negatively affect anything, and it would probably sharpen up a couple of different drivability aspects of the car if the tune was done right, which of course, that's why you go to reputable tuners. Now, oh my god, I feel like this entire video is me messing with my sun visor. But let me move back into the other lane real quick. So, coilovers update. So, like I said in my previous videos, and especially in my install video, we're running the KW Club Sport two-way coilovers on this car. And they are, honestly, like some of the nicest coilovers, if not the nicest coilovers I've ever had on any car. And they drive like it. They are no harsher on the street whatsoever than the stock TS suspension. However, they also retain all of the positive characteristics of the stock suspension while also improving on the, of course, the damping adjustability, which you really didn't have any adjustability on the stock suspension. And you also get, with this car, I'm running obviously much stiffer spring rates, and that's going to give you like a little bit more control. That's going to give the car a little bit more body control. But the nice thing about that is that this suspension setup still allows the car to really like move and pitch nicely, and it really does a great job of translating that to you while you're driving, especially on the track. And even like, you know, when you're just going down, you know, cruising down a back road, you can feel what the suspension is doing underneath you. It's very communicative. Love the wheels, love the wheel setup. The wheel setup looks great. I have no complaints about these Titan 7 TS5s. They're a 17x9 plus 37, and they're great. I haven't had a single issue whatsoever. They're still perfectly true, and not that I would expect them to be anything but true. They're not that old, but they are wrapped in 255 4017 Dunlop Dureza Z3s, which are some of my favorite 200 treadwear tires because they start at a pretty high tread depth. Think, you know, Hankook RS4 tread depth. However, you're definitely going to get a good bit more peak grip from a Z3 than you will from an RS4. Now, granted, they won't necessarily last quite as long as an RS4. An RS4 does last just about forever in terms of 200 treadwear tires. I mean, obviously it'll probably be outlasted by a 300 treadwear tire if you're talking about just street driving, but, you know, track driving, I would argue that a RS4 would last longer than most 300 treadwears, because a 300 treadwear would just fall apart with the repeated, you know, back-to-back-to-back-to-back track use. And I definitely think that the Dunlop Z3s really find a good happy medium between street driving and something that you can use on the track without really worrying that you're going to tear them up on the street. I ran them on the M3 previously and really enjoyed them there, and really enjoy them here on the BRZ as well. Now, quick camera talk. I've actually recently switched up, and you guys can probably tell I've switched up my main car vlog camera, and I've added a new GoPro Hero 9 to my camera lineup, and I'm also using the media mod with the external microphone. So let me know what you guys think about the video quality as well as the audio quality. Let me know if you think it's a step up, a step down, not much difference. I'll definitely be looking over the footage a lot when I go back through and edit this video. But I would love to know y'all's opinions on how you feel about the change in camera. Now, my normal plan, my other plan was to have, like, say for example, if I'm doing a track day or I'm doing a drive on a back road, I would have one camera facing me, the Hero 9, and then I would have my Hero 5, which I recorded with previously up until this point, facing out the windshield, so you guys would have a sort of a face cam in car, as it were, as well as a outward facing camera. So that is sort of my ultimate plan. And then eventually, when I'm running a 3 GoPro setup, I plan on having this camera, a forward-facing camera, and a rear-facing camera as well, that we can switch back and forth between in editing and in post-production as you sort of see fit, you know? Now, I've thought about the whole 360 camera route, and I would love to know if you guys feel as though a 360 setup would be something you would watch. Now, like, if I'm, say for example, scouting out a road that I've never been on before, or just doing a cruise on one of my favorite back roads, if you guys would like to see something like that in 360 view, let me know in the comments below, because I have thought about investigating some 360 cameras, and I've been doing a little bit of research of my own, and I think I have a pretty good idea of what would work well for me, but it would depend on whether or not that would be something that you guys want to see. So obviously I know it's a lot different than the gaming I know it's very different from the gaming content that you guys are used to seeing, but you know, when I'm not making gaming content, I really do enjoy making car content, and I know that the amount of car content I've made throughout my sort of YouTube career, if you want to call it that, obviously it's kind of flowed, you know, up and down like this, but I really do enjoy making the car content when I get the chance to, and I have a lot of ideas for car content, but I also don't necessarily want to, like, bombard y'all's feed with that. And what my sort of idea is to maybe do one car content related video every week, but on somewhat of a regular schedule. And if we do that, I have a feeling that that could maybe establish a little bit of a more regular production schedule for the car content. And then eventually it could be, what the heck? There was a Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT just sitting on the side of the road, abandoned. What the heck? Bro, that's freaking weird. Who the heck abandons a Grand Cherokee SRT on the side of the road? Yikes, bud. Anyway, back to the previous topic, I feel as though eventually, yes, we could migrate it into a sort of regular production schedule, and I think it would be really fun. I think it would introduce a different type of, because you guys know what the stream schedule is at this point. You guys expect it every week, the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from either noon to 3 or noon to 2-ish on Fridays, give or take. But you guys know that schedule, and you expect that schedule. And I think it would be really cool to add a little bit of, you know, extra spice to that schedule with their, like, uniform scheduled car content, because I have a lot of ideas, and I think for me, I end up sort of, you know, trying to stick the car content in where I can, but there really isn't a, you know, specifically dedicated schedule to it. So I think adding a dedicated schedule to that car content would be really cool. Even if it was once a week, like let's say Saturday mornings were your car content upload, like every Saturday morning would be like, that's car content morning, you know what I mean? So let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below on how you guys would feel about a schedule like that and how you guys think that would impact your watching experience. Because at the end of the day, it's all down to how you guys feel about these things. And I highly, highly, highly value your input on this stuff, and it really does a lot to drive home how I design the upload schedule and how I structure the content. And so I really want to make it something that really works best for you guys. And of course, obviously, what works best for one person might not work best for the next person, but that's why I'm trying to get a little bit more of a cumulative idea on what we're working with here. So without any further ado, I would very much like to know your thoughts and opinions on that in the comments down below. That's gonna do it for this quick little car vlog, quick little BRZ update, maintenance update, and rest assured, I have a lot more BRZ content planned for you guys coming very, very soon, as well as S2000 content. I actually, as I'm filming this video, I actually started up the S2000 and just kind of like, because I don't daily drive that car, but I do make sure that it fires up fairly regularly and is ready to go to events, whether those be mountain driving events or track days or whatever that may be. So again, with all that being said, hope you all enjoyed this video. Peace out, and I will see y'all next time.